City Morgue, Sauce Mula, and Zilla Kami. Is that right?
Yeah.
Zilla Kami?
Zilla Kami and Sauce Mula, you got it. Very interested to see how you felt about this trap metal rap rock duo.
Yeah, they dropped Toxic Boogaloo last week, which, boy, not what I expected, really. Although, if you even just look at the cover of it, you kind of know like you're going into something that's a little bit more probably hardcore. And man, I actually was pretty impressed with how they were able to take these two genres that I don't think you would usually think of together that mesh well. I mean, there's always been rock and hip hop trying to meld together, whether it's Lil Wayne or you go as far back as Run DMC and Aerosmith. But I feel like this was a really well, I don't know if even well done is the right way to put it, but it just seemed to flow better than those sorts of collaborations. This feels like a true metal hip hop duo. And I mean, even though I think it got a little bit grating at times and I think a little bit repetitive, I think the sound doesn't vary a lot throughout the album. It's short. It's like 10 tracks in like 18 or like 20 minutes or something like that.
Right.
There are some definite highs, and I think that they're a very interesting group to keep their pulse on. How did you feel about Toxic Boogaloo?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been checking in. City Morgue dropped 2 mixtapes since the end of 2018, and Zilla Kami might ring a bell to some people because he was featured on Denzel Curry's Taboo and also on the Powers Pleasant single Please Forgive. So he's been around a little bit, but honestly, I didn't really know who Zilla Kami was until he started making music with 6ix9ine. Zilla Kami is largely responsible for 6ix9ine's image and style. You can watch early videos where 6ix9ine doesn't really have a lot of tattoos yet, but he's kind of doing this like really aggressive yelling style with Zilla. And for Zilla, it always has come across as genuine and real, and he's kept this musical identity to this point. Obviously, we know 6ix9ine is just kind of a poser.
You don't say.
And and they since have beef and don't fuck with each other at all, and it's kind of been interesting to read more about that. But I agree. I think the lyrics are incredibly repetitive, and in general, it's a pretty one-note project, Toxic Boogaloo. But like I said, I do think it does come across as pretty genuine, and I think you can still have a lot of fun to this. I think the biggest highlight to me was one of the singles would be Hurt World 99, just because that song is like incredibly sticky. And again, even if it's not like the super lyrical thing, just like the HURT, like hook to it all, like I think it's pretty fun. So
yeah,
they're definitely not for everyone though.
No, certainly not. I agree. I think Hurt World 99 is probably like the anthem song on here, and the one that it sticks out the most as probably the most re-listenable. But I actually really love the beat on You Can SMD. There's this like really awesome part, I feel like, where like it kind of drops out and these like distorted like synths or something like that come in. It's like a really awesome moment on the album, and one that definitely stood out. And on Yakuza, were they intentionally doing Little John like what? Like I really was like, man, I wonder if this is an homage or just kind of how things came out for them. But I think they're interesting, with artists like this who are kind of making this the sound that feels so unique to them. I think the challenge, kind of like you were kind of pointing out, is how do they expand it and vary it to make it feel not so repetitive? And I think as they move forward as a duo and whatever we see them doing next, I hope they do find a way to vary it up but kind of stay genuine. That's always the hard part with stuff like this. Any last thoughts on them though before we move on?
Yeah, I think even if they never really branch out too much from this, I think they still have a pretty solid lane, because you can just see them fitting in, like opening up for other artists that are kind of adjacent to the dabbling in rock stuff. Think of like Suicide Boys or Puya. Again, I think they opened up for Denzel once before already, but like you can kind of see this because they kind of represent that Venn diagram that has started to come back into focus with rap and rock. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely interesting. And these guys are from New York, because New York is fucking vibrant all over the place, as we know.
Yeah. When you mentioned Denzel Curry, that really feels kind of like that's sort of the blueprint for them to follow if they're going to become more
Mm.
mainstream